The knock at my door came at exactly 9:30 on a Tuesday morning, 3 sharp raps that echoed through the house like gunshots. I knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. My son Michael stood there in his expensive suit, briefcase in hand, that practiced smile plastered across his face like he was selling insurance to a stranger. I opened the door slowly, watching his eyes do that thing they always did now. That quick scan from my slippered feet to my unbrushed hair, cataloguing every sign of decline he could use as ammunition later. "Dad, you look tired." His voice carried that fake concern I'd grown to despise. "Have you been sleeping okay? I've been worried about you since Mom passed." "I'm fine, Michael. Just finished breakfast. Come in if you want coffee." He followed me into the kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd taught him to scramble eggs when he was 8, where Sarah had packed his school lunches for 12 years, where we'd celebrated every birthday, every promotion, every milestone that mattered. Now he looked around like he was appraising inventory. "Dad, we need to talk." He set his briefcase on the table with the authority of a man who'd made his decision before arriving. "Lisa and I have been discussing your situation, and we think it's time to consider some changes." Changes. That's what he called it when they wanted to rearrange my entire existence. I poured myself coffee with steady hands, not offering him any. The silence stretched between us like a rope, ready to snap. "This house is too big for one person. The maintenance alone must be overwhelming." He gestured toward the living room, where Sarah's reading chair still held her favorite throw blanket. "You're rattling around in here like a ghost, Dad. It's not healthy. I built this house with my own hands." "Michael, every beam, every joint, every custom detail, your mother picked out every color, every fixture. This isn't just a house." He sighed with the patience of someone explaining basic math to a child. "That's exactly the problem. You're living in the past. Sarah's been gone for 18 months, Dad. 18 months of you sitting here alone, talking to her picture, letting the world pass you by." I set my coffee cup down harder than necessary. The sharp clink echoed through the kitchen like a warning shot. "What exactly are you suggesting?" Michael opened his briefcase and pulled out a glossy brochure. The cover showed smiling seniors playing chess and tending gardens under the headline, "Golden Years Community, where life begins again." "Lisa and I found this place in Lakewood. It's beautiful, Dad. 24-hour medical staff, activities, people your own age. You wouldn't have to worry about anything anymore." Worry about anything? Like grocery shopping was some impossible task. Like paying bills required a doctorate in rocket science. Like I hadn't been managing my own life for 73 years without their helpful supervision. "The cost. That's what you're really worried about, isn't it?" His face flushed the way it used to when I caught him in lies as a teenager. "Dad, that's not fair. This is about your well-being. How much would Golden Years cost?" "Michael, monthly fee, medical coverage, all of it." "What's the real number?" He shifted in his chair, suddenly fascinated by the coffee stains on Sarah's old placemat. "Around $4,000 a month. But Dad, you can afford it. The equity in this house alone would cover years of care. And what happens to that equity when the house sells?" Michael's careful mask slipped just slightly. "Well, obviously there would be estate planning considerations. Lisa and I would help manage those funds to ensure your long-term security." Estate planning. Long-term security. Corporate speak for "we want your money before you die." I walked to the window overlooking the garden Sarah had planted. 23 years of her careful attention had created something beautiful. Roses, she'd named after our grandchildren. The herb garden where she'd grown basil for her famous pasta sauce. The oak tree we'd planted when Michael graduated high school. "You know what's funny, son? I built this house when you were 12. You helped me lay the foundation that summer, remember? Complained the whole time about missing baseball practice. But you stayed. Your mother made lemonade and brought it out to the work site every afternoon." Michael's voice softened. "I remember, Dad. But that doesn't mean you should spend your final years as a prisoner to memories." Prisoner to memories. As if loving Sarah's memory was some kind of mental illness. As if holding on to the life we'd built together was a sign of weakness instead of devotion. "Tell me something, Michael. When was the last time you visited your mother's grave?" The question hung in the air like smoke from an extinguished candle. Michael's mouth opened, and closed without sound. His expensive watch seemed suddenly fascinating. I go every Tuesday, son. Every single Tuesday, for 18 months. I bring her fresh flowers and tell her about my week. I tell her how proud I am that you got that promotion, how beautiful Lisa looked at your anniversary dinner. I tell her about the books I'm reading, the projects I'm working on, the ways I'm keeping our home exactly how she'd want it. His face crumpled slightly, guilt and shame battling with stubborn determination. Dad, I know you miss her, but this isolation isn't what she would have wanted for you. Don't you dare tell me what Sarah would have wanted. You barely called her the last 5 years of her life. Too busy with your career, your social calendar, your important meetings. She used to cry after hanging up from our weekly phone calls because they felt so forced, so obligatory. That's not true. Michael's voice rose defensively. She kept a journal, son, every day until the cancer took her strength. I've read every entry she wrote about feeling like a burden to her successful son. She worried you only called out of duty instead of love. The kitchen fell silent except for the tick of the grandfather clock in the hallway. Sarah had bought it for our 20th anniversary, said she wanted something that would mark the passage of time in our home long after we were gone. I pulled out a chair and sat across from my son, studying his face the way I used to when he was young and wrestling with difficult truths. Let me ask you something else, Michael. How much do you figure this house is worth? He straightened, back on familiar ground. The real estate market's been strong. Properties in this neighborhood have been selling for $850, maybe $900,000, and Golden Years costs $4,000 a month. Right. So the house sale would fund your care for probably 15 or 20 years depending on medical expenses. I did the math in my head, the same way I'd calculated construction costs for 40 years. $900,000, $48,000 annually for housing, plus medical, food, activities. They were essentially asking me to spend my life's work to pay for the privilege of dying among strangers. What if I said no? Michael's professional composure cracked completely. Dad, you can't live here alone forever. What if you fall? What if there's a medical emergency? What if your mind starts to go, what if? What if? What if? You're so worried about what might happen that you're not paying attention to what is happening. I'm healthy, Michael. My doctor says I have the heart of a 60-year-old. My mind is sharp enough to manage my finances, maintain this property, and see through your concern trolling. His face reddened. Concern trolling? That's what they call it, when someone pretends to worry about you while actually serving their own interests. You want me in Golden Years because it's convenient for you. No more guilt about not visiting. No more responsibility for your aging father. Just write a check every month and show up for the funeral. Michael slammed his hand on the table, rattling our coffee cups. That's enough, Dad. I'm trying to help you, and you're making me out to be some kind of villain. Are you helping me, son? Or are you helping yourself to my life savings while convincing yourself it's for my own good? The question echoed between us like an accusation that couldn't be taken back. Michael's mouth worked soundlessly, his corporate training failing him when faced with uncomfortable truth. I watched him struggle, remembering the boy who'd cried in my arms when his goldfish died. The teenager who'd asked my advice about asking girls to dance. The young man who'd called me his hero in his college graduation speech. Somewhere along the way, I'd stopped being his father and become his problem to solve. You want to know what I think, Michael? I think you and Lisa have been discussing more than my living situation. I think you've been to real estate agents, maybe even toured some properties in Boulder with that mountain view you're always posting on social media. His face went pale. Dad, that's not. How much would you clear from this house sale after paying for my care? 200,000? 300? Enough for the down payment on that dream house you've been wanting? We haven't. He stopped mid-sentence, caught in the web of his own deception. You haven't. What? Haven't calculated how much money you'd inherit if I conveniently died in a care facility instead of holding onto this property for another decade. Haven't discussed how much easier your lives would be without worrying about the old man rattling around in his memories. Michael's shoulders sagged in defeat. The expensive suit couldn't hide the fact that he looked exactly like the little boy who'd been caught stealing cookies before dinner. I love this house, Dad. I grew up here, but it's just bricks and wood and memories. You're my father. I want you safe and cared for, and happy. His voice cracked on the word happy, and for a moment I saw a glimpse of the son I'd raised instead of the stranger he'd become. Then why does your plan for my happiness require giving up everything that makes me happy? He had no answer for that. We sat in the kitchen where Sarah had made pancakes every Sunday morning for 30 years, surrounded by the ghosts of our family's better days. I'll think about it, I finally said. Give me some time to consider my options. Michael nodded, relief flooding his features. Of course. Take all the time you need. Maybe we could visit Golden Years together? Just to look around? Maybe. I stood and walked him to the door. The same door where Sarah had taken pictures on his first day of school, every year, where she'd waited up for him during his teenage years, worry etched on her face until his headlights swept across our driveway. After he left, I sat in Sarah's reading chair and opened her journal to a random page. Her handwriting, careful and precise, filled the lined paper with thoughts she'd never shared aloud. Michael called today. Our conversation felt strained, like he was checking items off a to-do list rather than talking to his mother. I know he loves us, but sometimes love isn't enough to bridge the distance success creates between parents and children. I closed the journal and looked around our living room. Every piece of furniture chosen together, every photograph capturing moments of joy, every small detail reflecting the life we'd built with careful intention and boundless love. My son wanted to reduce all of this to a real estate transaction. Package up 30 years of marriage and sell it to the highest bidder. Use the proceeds to warehouse me among strangers until death provided the final convenience of ending his obligations. But what if I had other plans? What if the old man still had a few surprises left in him? I picked up the phone and dialed a number I'd kept in my address book for 15 years. Margaret Chen, the real estate agent who'd helped our neighbors sell their house when they moved to Arizona. Margaret Chen Real Estate. How can I help you? Margaret, this is Robert Hayes from Maple Street. I'm interested in selling my house. How quickly can these things happen in today's market? The conversation that followed changed everything. Denver's housing market was on fire. Properties like mine were selling within days, often for cash, frequently above asking price. With the right strategy, Margaret explained, I could have a sale completed within 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Less time than Michael had given me to consider my options. After hanging up, I walked through every room of our house, seeing it through different eyes, not as the repository of memories it had always been, but as the key to my freedom. In the master bedroom, I opened Sarah's jewelry box and carefully removed her wedding ring. The diamond caught the afternoon light, throwing tiny rainbows across the wall. I slipped it onto my pinky finger, the only place it would fit, and felt her presence like a warm hand on my shoulder. What would you do, sweetheart? I asked her photograph on our dresser. Would you let them warehouse us? Would you give up everything we built together just to make their lives easier? Sarah's smile seemed to brighten slightly, and I heard her voice as clearly as if she were standing beside me. You know exactly what I'd do, Robert. I'd show them that Hayes women don't go gentle into that good night. That evening, I called Margaret back and scheduled a property assessment for the next morning. Then I researched senior living communities, but not the ones Michael had in mind. I found a place in Colorado Springs called Mountain View Estates. Active adult community, they called it, golf course, fitness center, hiking trails, art studios, independent living for people who weren't ready to surrender their independence. The monthly fees were half what Golden Years charged, and they didn't require residents to liquidate all their assets up front. Better yet, they had a waiting list of successful professionals looking for an active retirement community. People like me, who'd built something with their lives, and weren't ready to apologize for it. I went to bed that night with a plan forming in my mind. Michael thought he was dealing with a confused old man clinging to the past. He was about to discover he'd underestimated his father's capacity for strategic thinking. Margaret arrived at 8 the next morning with a photographer and measuring tape. She walked through our house with the enthusiasm of someone who recognized quality when she saw it. Mr. Hayes, this is exactly what my clients have been asking for. Original owner, meticulously maintained, custom features throughout. The hardwood floors alone are worth more than most people's entire flooring budget. What kind of timeline are we looking at? With the right pricing strategy, I could have this under contract within a week. Cash buyers are everywhere right now, especially for properties in this condition. I signed the listing agreement with hands that didn't shake. Margaret promised to have professional photos taken that afternoon, and the listing active online by evening. After she left, I called Mountain View Estates and spoke with their admissions director. They had one unit available in their newest building, with mountain views and a private patio. The monthly fee was $2,400, less than half of Michael's golden years solution. I put down a deposit over the phone. That evening, my doorbell rang. Michael stood on my front porch holding takeout containers and wearing his best approximation of a caring son expression. Thought I'd bring dinner. We could talk more about your options. Or let him in, noting how his eyes immediately went to the for sale sign Margaret had installed in my front yard. His face cycled through confusion, shock, and something approaching panic. Dad, what's that sign doing in our yard? I sold the house, son. Cash offer, closes in 10 days. I accepted it this afternoon. Michael dropped the takeout containers. Chinese food scattered across Sarah's carefully maintained hardwood floors like confetti at a funeral. You what? You can't sell the house. We haven't discussed this. You haven't thought it through. I've thought it through very carefully. You were right about needing to make some changes. I'm moving to an active adult community in Colorado Springs. Golf course, hiking trails, art studios. People my own age who aren't ready to surrender to matching tracksuits and bingo tournaments. His mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. But Dad, the equity, the estate planning, we had a plan. You had a plan, Michael. Your plan involved me giving up my independence so you could inherit my life's work. Guilt-free. My plan involves me keeping my dignity and my money while living exactly the kind of life your mother and I dreamed about for our golden years. He sank into Sarah's reading chair like a deflated balloon. How much did you sell it for? $940,000. $40,000 over asking price. Cash deal, no contingencies. And you're moving where exactly? Mountain View Estates. Monthly fee is $2,400. With $900,000 in the bank, I can afford to live there for 30 years if I make it to 103. Michael did the math in his head, his face growing paler by the second. Dad, this is insane. You're making major life decisions without consulting anyone. What if you hate it there? What if you get sick? What if I'm happier than I've been since your mother died? What if I make new friends and discover new interests and actually enjoy the rest of my life instead of waiting around to die? We sat in silence, surrounded by the chaos of spilled Chinese food and shattered expectations. Finally, Michael looked up at me with something approaching respect. I guess I underestimated you. You and Lisa both. You saw an old man clinging to memories. But I'm the same person who built this house from nothing. The same person who raised you to be successful and independent. Did you really think I'd forgotten how to take care of myself? Michael began cleaning up the spilled food, moving with the automatic motions of someone buying time to think. When he finished, he sat back down and looked directly at me for the first time in months. I'm sorry, Dad. I thought I was helping, but I was really just trying to solve a problem that didn't exist. You were trying to manage me like a business acquisition, package me up, file me away, eliminate the inconvenience of having an aging parent who might need actual attention someday. That's harsh, but probably fair. He rubbed his temples like he had a headache. What happens now? Now I finish packing, move to Colorado Springs, and start the next chapter of my life. You and Lisa can visit anytime you want. The drive is only 2 hours, and they have a beautiful guest suite for families. Michael smiled for the first time since arriving. It sounds like you've thought of everything. Your mother always said I was too stubborn to die young and too smart to die stupid. Turns out she was right about both. We spent the evening going through photo albums, remembering better times when our family felt like a team instead of a business arrangement. Michael helped me pack boxes of memories I'd take to my new home, and for a few hours he felt like my son again instead of my estate planner. When he left that night, he hugged me harder than he had in years. I'm proud of you, Dad. Mom would be proud too. After he drove away, I sat in Sarah's reading chair one last time, surrounded by boxes and empty rooms that echoed with 30 years of love and laughter. I pulled out her journal and read the final entry she'd written just weeks before the cancer took her. Robert is so strong, but I worry about him after I'm gone. I hope he remembers that our love story doesn't end with my death. I hope he finds new adventures, new joys, new reasons to wake up excited about the day ahead. Most of all, I hope he never lets anyone convince him that growing older means giving up. I closed the journal and smiled, knowing exactly what Sarah would think about my Colorado Springs adventure. She'd pack her hiking boots and demand to know why it took me so long to figure out what came next. The house sold exactly as Margaret promised. Mountain View Estates welcomed me with the enthusiasm reserved for residents who chose active retirement over managed decline. My new apartment overlooked the golf course where I'd already signed up for lessons I'd always been too busy to take. Michael and Lisa visited every few weeks, marveling at my transformation from isolated widower to community volunteer coordinator. I organized hiking groups, taught woodworking classes, and even started dating a lovely woman named Patricia, who'd lost her husband the same year I lost Sarah. 6 months later, Michael called with news that surprised no one except him. Lisa was pregnant with their first child. My first grandchild would grow up knowing a grandfather who chose adventure over surrender, independence over convenience. The moral of the story isn't that children are greedy, or that aging parents should distrust their families. The moral is that growing older doesn't mean growing smaller. Experience is supposed to teach us wisdom, not defeat. I sold the house they thought I'd die in, and then I discovered that sometimes the best chapters of our lives are the ones we write, after everyone else thinks the story should be over. Sarah would have loved Colorado Springs. She would have loved our grandchild. Most of all, she would have loved knowing that her stubborn husband refused to go gentle into that good night. Some stories end with death, others end with new beginnings. I chose the beginning.